I'm Ben, and this is your nightly news wrap-up. Smash that like button to make sure we get this video out. Let's get it.
The Justice Department announcing crypto exchanges, payment services like Venmo and Cash App, and financial institutions will be in its crosshairs as part of the hunt for oligarch assets. Robert Frank joins us right now with more on this. And Robert, this is upping the ante once again, trying to make sure that there's no way around these rules.
Exactly. The Justice Department warning crypto exchanges and the payment platforms that they could become targets in this increasing and widening oligarch crackdown. The new sanctions task force saying that banks and crypto exchanges that fail to maintain adequate money laundering policies will be in the crosshairs of this investigation. Now remember, trading between the ruble and crypto assets more than doubled right after the invasion of Ukraine.
There's a new sheriff in town. The Department of Justice recently launched a new task force that will enforce strict sanctions against Russia and anyone else involved in the effort to line their pockets, crypto exchanges included. The name of this task force is CryptoCapture, and they're comprised of agents and analysts from the FBI, Secret Service, U.S. Marshals, and officers from the Department of Homeland Security. The goal is to target any and every financial service provider that's helping the Russian oligarchs launder money and evade economic sanctions. The DOJ describes CryptoCapture as an interagency law enforcement task force dedicated to enforcing the sweeping sanctions, export restrictions, and economic countermeasures that the United States has imposed, along with allies and partners in response to Russia's unprovoked military invasion of the Ukraine.
And then we have the U.S. and U.K. also going after the U.S. financial investments of the oligarchs. U.K. authorities freezing the U.S. hedge fund investments that were made by Roman Abramovich. He, of course, is the high-profile billionaire who was sanctioned in the U.K. and Canada in recent days. Officials say he invested what could be billions of dollars through an unregistered investment firm based in Tarrytown, New York, called Concord Management. Now, Abramovich's hedge funds include some big names: Mill Street Capital, Empyrean, Millennium, and Sculptor Capital. Some funds like Brevin Howard now saying they will return Concord's investment. Abramovich had been trying to sell his hedge fund investments in recent weeks. Sources telling me Abramovich also has large holdings of U.S. stocks. Unclear, though, what vehicles he may have used. Concord did not respond to requests for comment. But guys, remember, the Russian rich have more than $800 billion stashed overseas. I would bet most of that is in private equity, hedge funds, stocks, and other U.S. market investments. So this story is just beginning.
If you know anything about Russian elites or Vladimir Putin's inner circle, then I'm sure you've come across the name Roman Abramovich, the former governor of Chukotka and owner of Chelsea Football Club. He's one of 7 Russian billionaires that has had their assets frozen in an attempt to prevent them helping with the war. Abramovich, who makes the Penguin look like an upstanding citizen.
For sheer criminal genius, none surpasses my most recent ornithologically inspired entoilment.
Started making his money in 1995 through a rigged auction where he purchased a Russian oil company, Sibneft, for $250 million. He sold Sibneft back to the Russian government for $13 billion in 2005. The Russian authorities have been wanting to charge him for fraud for years, but he's practically untouchable since he's been in Putin's inner circle at the Kremlin for over 2 decades. Of course, Roman has denied ever having close ties with Putin, but The Guardian reports that he was targeted by the UK's government since he has effective control of a steel company, Evraz PLC, that supplied steel to the Russian military to produce tanks. But trust me, they're definitely not friends. The EU has been seizing his assets, including a super yacht, and he was last seen boarding a plane in Israel headed to Istanbul. He better watch his back. CryptoCapture is on the move, and they won't stop until they seize all of the super yachts they can find. Next up, Crypto exchange FTX took another step closer to crypto mass adoption today by becoming the first exchange to receive a license to operate in Dubai. CoinDesk reports that FTX's license comes a week after Dubai announced the creation of Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. This independent authority will be responsible for governing the crypto sector in Dubai. Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates tweeted, "The authority will cooperate with all related entities to ensure maximum transparency and security for investors." Their goal is to establish the UAE and Dubai's position as a key player in designing the future of virtual assets globally. FTX isn't the only one getting their foot in the door in the untapped Middle Eastern crypto market. Ethereum is seeing a lot of movement the past week, and the recent valuation of Consensus shaking up the crypto world. Just last year, Consensus was valued at around $3 billion, but a recent Series D round of funding pulled in $450 million. In case you didn't know, Consensus is an Ethereum developer and owns several crypto projects, including MetaMask. This is all coming together as the NFT ecosystem is starting to mature, and the merge to ETH 2.0 is looming sometime later this year, maybe over the summer. Consensus has positioned itself to be the major player in the Ethereum ecosystem and are already forging partnerships across Silicon Valley. This is very bullish news for Ethereum and is a sneak peek at what might happen to the price of Ethereum when it finally moves to proof of stake. Comment below with your favorite NFT project. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. That's all I got. Be blessed. Good boy out.